Okay, let's dive right into this explainer on the complex and, honestly, sometimes pretty risky world of professional mentorship. We hear about it everywhere, right? It's universally prescribed as this magical silver bullet for career progression and personal development, but today we're flipping the script. We're going to look at the other side of the coin, using hard data to unpack exactly what happens when this crucial relationship goes completely off the rails.
So here's the thing. We're constantly told finding a mentor is the ultimate key to success. But what happens when the person supposedly guiding you is actually the anchor weighing you down? It's a startling question for sure, but an absolutely necessary one. If you're trusting someone with your entire career trajectory, you've got to know if their guidance is actually serving you or if it's quietly stalling your progress.
See, while the popular press loves to paint mentorship as a flawless career cheat code, the empirical evidence reveals a much harsher reality. Bad mentoring experiences actually impact your well-being way more powerfully than good ones. Mentorship isn't just universally positive, it's a spectrum. And hitting those negative notes on that spectrum can induce serious psychological strain, depressed moods, and, yeah, full-blown burnout.
The data from Egby and colleagues proves a really stark point here. Bad experiences are significantly more predictive of burnout than good ones. Just look at the numbers. Bad mentoring drives a massive 65% of the variance in relationship quality. Good mentoring, only 35%. To put that into perspective, the negative stuff hits almost twice as hard as the positive. Crazy, right?
So the absolute crucial takeaway here is this. If your mentor constantly takes credit for your work or, say, completely ignores your emails until they suddenly need a favor, you need to call it what it is. A busy mentor who takes a week to reply but actually gives you concrete help, well, that's just imperfect. But a mentor who leaves you feeling anxious, small, or ashamed, that is not mentoring. That's exploitation, plain and simple, or it's control, and we're going to learn exactly how to spot it.
Moving into Section 1, Overtly Toxic Mentors, Identifying Active Malice. Let's kick things off with the most glaring relational risks, active malice. The researchers map this out really systematically into specific meta-themes. You've got distancing behaviors, like intentional exclusion. Then you've got manipulative behaviors, things like overt deceit and active sabotage. This breakdown shows us exactly how these specific toxic actions fundamentally shatter trust within the dyad.
If you're dealing with overtly hostile behaviors, and I'm talking about public humiliation, actual sabotage, or just a total lack of confidentiality, you are in a dysfunctional relationship. Point blank. This isn't just a poor fit or a clash of personalities. It's a structurally harmful dynamic that can actively, permanently damage your professional reputation.
Section 2. The Subtle Saboteurs. Good Intentions, Bad Outcomes.
Now, overt malice is bad, but it isn't the only danger out there. Honestly, the most damaging mentors often look like your salvation. They're confident, they're eager to help. Take the blueprint programmer, for instance. This type of mentor packages their own personal journey as this flawless, replicable roadmap. The danger? You're being programmed, not guided. They expect you to strictly conform to their script, totally ignoring your unique context and strengths. They don't want to help you write your own story. They just want you to reenact theirs.
Next up is the absolute teacher. And it's wild how counterproductive this dynamic actually is. This mentor just has to be the one with all the answers all the time. They speak in absolutes. If you dare to question their advice or suggest a slightly different path, they flinch. They get super defensive. What this does is create this incredibly rigid hierarchy where the mentor completely stops learning from you, completely stifling the open, reciprocal dialogue that makes for high-quality mentoring in the first place. Then we run into the incongruent guide. This is such a fascinating one. This mentor gives advice that sounds absolutely amazing. They preach strict work-life boundaries, strategic clarity, vulnerability, all the good stuff. But in their own reality, they are modeling chronic burnout and complete operational chaos. That specific disconnect between the ideals they preach and their daily execution, it breeds intense self-doubt in the mentee, because you're constantly struggling to reconcile their great advice with their chaotic reality. Finally, we have the dependency creator. Now, this mentor usually genuinely cares about you, but instead of building up your independence, they quietly foster a long-term reliance on their validation just to make basic decisions. You end up leaving conversations feeling more anxious and dependent rather than confident and capable. Honestly, it's a subtle form of control, just dressed up as support.
Oh, and we definitely have to talk about technical competence too. In fast-moving science and tech fields, bad advice isn't just an interpersonal issue. If a mentor is pushing obsolete skills, giving you vague technical guidance, or literally forcing you to use their preferred legacy tech stacks just to serve their own agenda, that will actively erode your market value. Following outdated blueprints in tech can literally set your career back by years.
Let's shift gears to Section 3, the two-way street, characteristics of a bad mentee.
To be completely impartial here, we really have to acknowledge that mentoring goes both ways. Mentors invest a ton of time and energy, and they can absolutely suffer from bad protégés just as much. The whole relationship will rapidly fall apart if a mentee lacks accountability, expects to be totally spoon-fed without taking any initiative, acts entitled, or spends all their time playing manipulative political games, kissing up to superiors while ignoring the actual work. True mentorship requires the mentee to step up as an eager, respectful, and accountable learner.
Jumping into Section 4, the hidden career costs of staying.
Bringing it back to the mentee's perspective, staying in a misaligned relationship carries some massive hidden costs. Research actually shows that more than half, over 50%, of all mentees report experiencing at least one negative mentoring experience during their career, so it's highly prevalent. And ignoring it just out of fear or awkwardness, that can lead to severe psychological withdrawal and completely stunt your career growth.
Which brings us to this fascinating psychological phenomenon, the danger of moki. Moki is this great concept describing a state of deep, tacit understanding and unspoken cooperation. But ironically, if you start out with this incredibly high level of harmonious alignment with your mentor, a relational breach later on doesn't just hurt, it absolutely devastates. The research shows breaking this kind of deep trust will drastically accelerate a mentee's intention to just quit their job entirely. The higher the initial trust, the much harder the fall.
Finally, Section 5, the escape plan, making a graceful exit.
So what do you actually do? You need a concrete strategy to protect your career without burning crucial bridges. Follow these steps. First, accept the reality of the harm. Second, secure your work and document issues, especially if there's active sabotage involved. Then, and this is the crucial part, quietly disengage. You don't need some huge dramatic confrontation. Just quietly start shifting your time toward new projects while cautiously seeking out new guidance.
And that leads directly to this essential rule. Redundancy isn't disloyal, it's survival. Building a diverse network of multiple mentors is not a betrayal of your primary mentor. Relying on one single person for all of your career development is just incredibly risky. Having multiple mentors is an absolute necessity if you want to survive and thrive in today's fast-paced industries.
I want to leave you with this final, really vital gut check. Take a hard look at your current professional relationships and ask yourself, are you truly growing independently, or are you just growing in proximity to them, reliant on their constant validation? Remember, great mentors hold up a mirror. They don't just hand you a script. Evaluate your professional relationships today. I really hope this explainer helps you spot the wrong mentors and find the true, empowering guidance you actually deserve.